Yo, what's up, guys? It's Tofu. We're here with another podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Emblem System, the new rank system coming to DBD. If you guys don't know what the Emblem System is, it's going to be replacing the current Victory Cube for killers, and also for survivors, it's going to replace the rank system as well. And with me today is the usual podcast group, which is Mathman200.
Hello, hello.
Ryuk's Apples.
Hello.
Hello. And Atro. What do we call you? Do we call you Atro, Knifebird? Like, what exactly is... I don't ever know what to call you. Sometimes I call you Atro, and sometimes I call you Knifebird. What? Hello?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. You can call me whatever. You can call me Franklin for all I care.
Alright, so we have Frank here. Our buddy Frank.
Franklin. I'm sorry.
Frank is short for Franklin, so we got Frank here.
No.
Frank is the fourth podcaster. Anyway.
I'm Frank and I work in IT.
Please. Okay, anyway. Dude, there's a new system, alright? It was in the PTB for like 1 weekend, right? I'm sure most people have probably played it. It's a new rank system where instead of... Okay, with the current rank system, as Survivor, it's based off blood points. You have to get up to a maximum of 5k in each category, and then 10k pips and 20k double pips is how it works. And as Killer, it's based off nothing but hooks and kills. Like, you get hooks for each hook or hook state that the Survivor goes in, you get points towards a pip. And, you know, like a 4k where everyone gets hooked results in a double pip. Well, they're changing all of that. And now it's going to be based off emblems. And there's 4 different emblems. And things that you do in the game will determine what rarity of emblem that you get, per se. There's like a bronze, silver, gold, and then iridescent is like the ultimate emblem, because, you know, iridescent things in DBD are, you know, a thing.
They're always the best.
Yeah, everything's got to be iridescent.
Everything's gonna be shiny.
Yeah, so first off, like, I mean, I don't know. I played the PTB for a while whenever the Emblem System was in, and I gotta say it was like in its current state, it was pretty bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
But before I shit all over it, I want to say that it's a really solid idea, and I think if they just touch it up a little bit, I think it could be really, really good. And, like, definitely miles better than the current one, for sure. But
Hell yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an improvement, even though that's not really hard compared to the current system.
Exactly. But I also think
But
with, like...
it's way better than the new one, I think. Even if it's kind of bad right now, it's still... I'd rather have the one that they did on the PTV right now than what we have.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think with like a little bit of work on the one that was on the PTB, it could become really, really good. Like, actually, like a very solid rank system, you know? Like, I think their idea of emblems can be toned up to be, like, really well, okay? You guys agree? Like, do you think if they touch it up? I don't know. I think there's, you know, let's just hop right into it, okay? There's, you guys want to, like, hit up, like, the first emblem? I'll even pull it up on screen. Here you go. Bam. Do you even gen? Okay, so this is Lightbringer versus Gatekeeper, which is as a survivor. Actually, there's actually a Reddit thread that has the exact numbers. I remember some of them.
It's not showing up on your screen. There we go. Never mind.
Oh yeah, you just have a delay.
I have that huge delay.
Yeah, there's actually a Reddit thread where someone data mined the numbers, and we actually have exact numbers. We could. Oh, did you put it in Discord?
Yep.
We can link that below the video as well. But okay, for this one, I think I remember the numbers. You know what? Here, in this game that's playing in the background, I'm gonna let myself die so that I can look at these numbers. Okay, so for this generator one, as a survivor, you get points, you know, for the amount of gens that you work on, and as a killer, you get points for either killing them. Okay, how it works is you get points for how long it takes the gens to get done, and also if you manage to 4-kill them, how many gens are done whenever they get 4-killed. You get a very large bonus. Okay, so I actually kind of like this one, although I think the numbers could be tuned a little bit.
Yeah.
How it currently is okay. As a generator, or sorry, as a survivor, not as a generator. As a survivor, one whole generator from start to finish being repaired is worth 100 like hypothetical points, okay, towards this emblem. And the emblems are let me go find the exact number right here. All right, so the emblems are 75 for bronze, so that's 3/4 of a gen for bronze. 150 for silver, so you got to do a gen and a half for silver. 250 for gold, so that's 2.5 gens. And then 350 for iridescent. So if you want to get iridescent Lightbringer, you have to do 3.5 gens, which is kind of a fuck ton. You know?
Way too many for a single survivor to get iridescent. That means only one survivor, in theory, should be able to get iridescent.
Yeah, like,
Which,
well,
in my opinion, no, it does work like that. It was actually bugged on the PTB.
really?
Yeah, you know how you could work on a gen with another person to get double the points?
Yeah.
That was unintentional and was bugged. You're only supposed to get points for how much of it you actually repaired.
Oh, so like if
people,
you...
Yeah.
Oh,
So if
really?
2 people do a full... Yes, I am not lying to you. That is what I was told by McLean and
Okay,
Thomas.
you know what? I want to say that I like that. I like that they do
Me
that
too.
because I don't like that, you know, you're punished for separating, because you're almost punished for making the
Neither, 'cause
wrong
that's
play.
being efficient.
Exactly.
By being separate, that's actually efficient, so...
Yeah, so you get kind of punished for making the wrong... Okay, so that's good. So assuming when this is working correctly, you only get points depending on how much you actually contributed to the gen. So like if you and a buddy do a gen, you both get 50 rather than both getting 100, which I think is good. But if that's the case, these numbers are fucking ridiculous, dude.
So
like
fuck,
what
like,
the fuck, dude? That is not. You'll never get 350 ever. Like your team has to literally be brain dead. Like that's nuts.
We'll talk about the numbers. It's 75 for bronze, 150 for silver, 250 for gold, and 350 for iridescent. Like, it is way too high. Like, it's a joke in my opinion.
Yeah, but okay. I think as far as suggestions, I think this is a pretty straightforward thing. Like, I don't think there's anything that needs to be changed about this, right? Like, aside from the numbers, yeah. But like,
I like how it works. I just think the numbers need to be tuned.
Agreed. So like, what do you think would be good numbers? I'm thinking like.
So I personally think that 2 people, if they do like 2.5 gens per person, should get iridescent. I think 2 people should be able to get iridescent theoretically. If 2 people do like half the gens together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So something like, I don't know, I thought that like if you do what would it be, 0.6 or something like that per each tier, it would be more representative. Like if you did 1.25 gens, I think you should get progress towards a pit. Because with 5 generators, right? If everyone does 1.25 gens, that means you've contributed, in my opinion, what you should have, so you should at least get a silver badge for that. Because if all 4 people get a silver badge for that, in my opinion, that makes sense because you get 2 points towards your pit for doing what you're supposed to do. And that's what I feel like the silver should be. You know, that's like you played it, you know, average, you did average, so that's the average points you get.
Yeah, because like it's what, like 8 points for like a safety and then 9 for a pip, right? So like
it's in the new system, it's different. It's 4 for a safety, 8 for a pip, 13 for double.
That's weird.
It is really weird. It's way too easy to safety pip.
Yeah, they need to change that safety pip. Honestly, I was kind of disappointed when they released safety pip at all way back in the day, to be honest. But if it is gonna be there, that is way too low, dude. That's like, you're just gonna, like, if people are like incapable of depipping, then like what's the point of
everyone's
having a
rank 1 and there's
exactly. Like, what the fuck's even the point of having a rank system then, you know? But anyway, okay, sorry. Regardless though, I think you are right about those numbers. I do agree. Like, I think if you do 2.5 gens, if you do half the gens by yourself, you should get iridescent for sure.
And I think if you do a quarter of the gens, which is 4 survivors, makes sense. Everyone can do a quarter. You should get 2 points, because if you theoretically were to get 2 points in every category for being average, that would equate to your pit, right?
Okay, so like hypothetical numbers. Iridescent is 250. Silver is what, 125. Gold is what, 175. And bronze is like 75. I think that would be good. So basically 75 for bronze, and then every half a gen is like a step up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do like those numbers. Like, I think they should like test around with it, because like I just hope that's what they do. Is they don't just push this, but they test. You know?
Yeah, agreed.
Get more data. And yeah, no, it's like you try it with that, see if it's too easy or now too hard. I think like that one sounds at least better and not as punishing to try and get Lightbringer as a survivor.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. I mean, I feel like Apple's and HRV is saying that. Do you guys agree with this? Like, you guys on board with these numbers?
So I mean, sorry, you go first.
Go ahead. No.
No, that's fine. You go first. No,
I was just gonna say, okay.
What is this? God damn.
I would say
two very wholesome, polite people.
You guys are very passionate. I would say that in terms of Lightbringer, iridescent for 2 full sounds all right. If you do 2 full by yourself, I don't really know how that would work if you're doing. Does it get cut in half if you have 2 of the survivors working on the same?
Yeah, you do 50% of the progress theoretically, right? Like if you have 2 people working on gen from start to finish, you each do 50% of the generator.
Right. Yeah. No, that sounds good to me.
You think 2 full generators for iridescent instead of 2.5? Because I could agree with that as well.
I mean, I could see 2.5 as well. I'm just trying to think of like.
No, yours makes more sense actually, because theoretically, if a single if you want 2 people to get iridescent with 2.5, with 2, only 2 people can still get iridescent. But if anyone did 1% of the generator, you wouldn't be able to get it, and you'd just be a little bit shy.
Basically, I want it to be the equivalent of, when you max out your objective points right now. I don't know how many gens you'd have to do currently to max out your objective.
I mean, it also depends on if people do it with you, because you get a big bonus for co-op and stuff too.
Yeah, 50%.
Right. Yeah, I just don't. What I don't want is essentially people to track like, I've done my 2 gens, I've got iridescent. Fuck that. Or I guess they could do that because then they wouldn't ever want to do gens anymore for the rest of the match. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how it correlates to in-game stuff.
I just feel like I don't want iridescent to be easy. Like, I think right now, like in the current emblem system in the PTB or whatever, like iridescent gatekeeper was like borderline impossible, which is too hard. But I also don't want to see it too easy. Like, I don't think 2 survivors should be getting iridescence in one game for the same thing, Well, at least for this particular emblem, because it should be hard. Like, as a survivor, you don't even need 4 iridescence to double pip, Like, you need, I think it was like an iridescent and 3 golds, I think is what it was, or maybe it was 2 iridescents and 2 golds. I think it was 1 iridescent and 3 golds.
You need 13 points. You gotta do the math on that. 13 points would be you could do 2 iridescents, and so that's 8 points. Then you'd need to make up the remaining 5 points.
No, that's
so you get a gold and a silver.
No, yeah. So that's 1 iridescent and 3 golds is basically like. So basically, you don't even need 2 iridescents to like double pip, right? You only need 1 hypothetically, assuming you get gold and everything else. So like they shouldn't be easy to get, Like they should be very hard. Like if you see you got an iridescent in something, you should be like, damn, I did fucking work in that category, And
yeah,
I feel like 2 gens isn't enough to be like, damn, I did fucking work, Like,
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
I mean, when I think about it, I would say like if you did 3 or more gens, like you did essentially over half the amount of work the entire team. Yeah, which I think would like be good to say like, yeah, definitely iridescent. Like you were the person who got our gens done, and you helped a fuck ton, so you deserve the iridescent.
Yeah,
that's why I like 2.5, because you did 50% of all the work. That's a lot of fucking generators.
That is like, especially considering it's a 4-man game, you did over half of it.
Yeah, and that's why I think 250 like is a pretty good thing, because you did half. I think you fucking deserve that shit. You did good. It's like a pat on the back. Like 350. It's like you could do 250 of the gens, and you just got gold for doing 2. Like over half the gens, you get a gold before, and like that's a problem, because it's like you did 50% of the work in a 4-person game, and you didn't even get like very well rewarded for it. Because if you think about how much time you have to spend doing that, and how you're not going to gain any progress in any other category, That's the issue I almost find with the ranking system, is that it's so hard to rank up as survivor because you have to do a bit of every category. You know, as killer, I feel like yours come naturally. You know, you hit people, you sacrifice people, you hook people, you down people.
Yeah, it's
That's what you
also
get your
because-
points for. You play the game and you're map efficient. Like you just, that's
So-
all you have to do.
If you really think about it, a killer can gain points in 3 categories at the same time,
Exactly.
just by
Yeah.
chasing someone.
And
If you hit
that's
someone,
in
if
my
you cha-
opinion, with survivor.
yeah, and survivors can only like ever get it. You can't get chased while you repair a generator. You can't heal while unhooking someone. You know what I mean? And then you, as a killer, you can chase someone while stopping gen progress. You know?
And 2 of those categories, the hook and sacrifice one, are directly tied in with one another pretty much, you know?
Agreed.
Because there's
But I
one
mean,
where you get
but-
points for hooks, and then
Okay.
one where you get points for sacrificing.
Okay. We shouldn't get too far into those yet. We should just be. Let's like
Yeah,
continue.
sorry,
up.
I'm just complaining about like the total. The
I know.
problem with these numbers is that for survivors, they're all different objectives, and you have to balance doing different objectives, which is really weird.
Well, I mean,
like-
there's kind of no way to avoid that though. It's a 1v4 game.
No,
you know?
for
like,
sure, for sure. But then if you make the problem is if you don't reward all the playstyles for people that you want to be at high ranks, then they're not gonna rank up by playing their playstyle, and they're gonna bully new players, even if they're experienced. You got what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, do we want to go on to the chase one now?
Well, I mean, I was gonna touch base on the killers half of this first episode. We've just been on the survivors half so
Oh,
far.
right. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, I mean, I don't. I don't-
The ruin is a required perk emblem.
You know,
I don't think it's required, but
Okay,
I get
here. I'm just gonna get into how this works, and then we can talk about why ruin.
Oh,
kind
I
of
wasn't
fucks
saying rune's required. I was just, because people say you need ruin or else you can't pip.
it. Please. Okay, here's the way this emblem works. Okay. All right. For each second that like there's a certain amount of gems left. Okay. For every second that like, so for instance, you spawn on the map. For every second that there's still 5 gens left, you get 100 points. Okay. For every second that there's still 4 gens left, you get 60. For every second there's still 3 gen, you get 30. There's like a certain number value that you get for like the amount of gens that are still up. And it's just per second you get that amount of points. But okay, to give a quick example, you get 100 points for every second that there's still 5 gens. But to get an iridescent gatekeeper, you need 45,000 points. So like, even though it seems like a lot, 100, you need 45,000 to iridescent. So like, the math on that is you would need to keep 5 gens up for a fucking long ass time, you know. But like, regardless of the numbers, just how this works, I think is what's important. Okay. So you get points per second depending on how many gens are up. But if you manage to 4-kill everybody, then you get a huge bonus value depending on how many gens you left. Like for instance, here I'm looking at it right now. If you 4-kill them and there's still 5 gens left, you get 36,000, which is just 9k short of an iridescent. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think that should just give you an iridescent straight up.
I think it will though. If you think about it, being like, if you think about logically how long it would take to even like in a normal. If there's no pallets on the map, a survivor's walking away from you, no pallets or windows, to hit them, down them, hook them all, like just getting 4 hooks, like no one gets unhooked, I think the amount of time that would take on base would be enough to get iridescence, and I think that's factored in.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, I think so too.
Because if you do the math, you gain 100 points a second for 5 gens up, so it's going to be, you're racking in points. You only need 9,000. That's 90 seconds. You're not going to get 4 people down and hooked and the game to be done in 90 seconds. And if you are, just leave the last person on the ground for 30 seconds and then rack up your gen points easy.
True. Didn't even think about that.
There's four distinct things that I think about when it comes to Gatekeeper. One is brand new parts, right? Brand new parts inherently go against Gatekeeper, so that's a push to use brand new parts. Killers are pushed to use Ruin because Ruin will stall, right? It'll stall the amount of time that the generator is not fully repaired. Not people aren't working on them, they're not done, right? The second thing is which is what a lot of people are saying in chat right now, is the overcharge meta, where it's a stall game, right? Where that's a negative way of saying you're applying pressure to the map, but I don't think people are looking at it that way. They're more thinking like, I'm going to guard the last 3 gens, right, with my overcharge meta, and make sure that I get my gatekeeper and basically draw out the game. Now, at that point in the game, with all the hooks and stuff going on and how long the game is progressing, I'm sure everyone will pip. But it's pretty interesting. I think gatekeeper could be a controversial one.
Yeah, it's definitely okay. I think an important thing to say is that they definitely need to like do something about 3-gen strat as well. You know, like I feel like that's what I feel like that's what makes people think when they see this. Is they're like, oh, it's rewarding 3-gen strat, which, like, don't get me wrong, I fucking hate 3-gen strat. Like, I fucking hate it. I think it's like the worst thing ever. But like, assuming they do something about 3-gen strat, then I think this becomes perfect. You know, I think that's like I think that plus like the fact that Hex Ruin is a thing, but even Hex Ruin isn't that big of a deal. Like, whatever, just find it, break it, or do gens through it. You know, but I think just like this quote unquote rewarding 3-gen strat is more of like the fact that 3-gen strat exists. You know, rather than this emblem being an issue. You know,
right?
So
yeah, I agree with that too. I just think like the emblem for killers, it's so fucking stupid with Ruin, because Ruin directly is like, it makes it really easy. Like, I think Brett made a good point on that. Like, instead of actually needing to apply map pressure, you put on Hex Ruin, and because 5 generators are up for longer, right? You get those points that you otherwise would get for applying map pressure just for having Hex Ruin and it staying up for a long enough time. Because I think Hex Ruin is too impactful in that manner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this comes from like a weird sense where like I still think that like the reason why it's like that is because when survivors see Hex Ruin, they like abandon all gens and go searching for it rather than just doing, like, I still think that if survivors got into the habit of doing gens through Hex Ruin, I think people would realize it wouldn't be as much of a problem, but no one wants to do that. You know, everyone would rather just go find the totem, and I understand that, but like, you are right. I mean, that is, like, if we're just gonna be honest with ourselves, that is how games work. Like, when you have Ruin, most of the time, like 90% of the time, and unless you get like a team of weirdos who's just like, fuck it, let's just do gens. Most of the time, all the survivors just stop doing gens. They go and look for the totem, they break it, and then they do gens. You know.
So I do have a question about this, right? Does doing secondary objectives outside of the generators gain you emblem points in any regard?
Nope.
Okay, that's an issue for me. I think
Same.
that if you have a mechanic in this game, you know, like totems or whatever else you're going to introduce into this game, I think that should play some role, right? It played a role into other stuff, like totem gave boldness, you know, a chest would actually give you objective, right? Like that's how you would earn more points. I don't know how that would play into the 4 categories, but I'd be interested to see maybe a little bit of a survivor side, easier to get. You know, if it's hard to get Lightbringer for a lot of people, or they don't really want to do gens, maybe there's another little thing you could tack on there saying like,
I agree.
Yeah, that's honestly
that's my issue with the survivors, is that you have to do a specific one thing for that emblem, and there's no other way to get those points. So that's why it's weird, in my opinion. Because like, as the game is now, you just have 4 point categories, and multiple things add to those different categories, which is what I think a rank system should do to promote different styles of play to be viable. You know? Right.
So NASCAR Pufu says, why doesn't open gates not go into Lightbringer? And honestly, if I'm gonna real talk this right now, I think what they're doing is trying to make it simple. First of all, they're trying to make it simple. Like, this first category, all it has to do with is gens. That's it, right? On both sides, just gens. But also what they're trying to not do, where is, if they did this, right? If they made the gates part of it and the totems part of it also, I just kind of like look at the emblem system and be like, so you just reordered the blood point system,
yes.
right?
And I actually mentioned that to Thomas, and that's what he said to me. He's like, but then it's just a blood point system. I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah, but then it actually worked, okay?
Yeah,
I was
that's also a part of it is I think that like I like the blood point system personally. I don't think there was really people that didn't enjoy the blood point system. But it is a downfall of the emblem system. I will say that the categories are very, very strict on styles of play, right? Like totem hunters are, if you're a totem hunter, good fucking luck pipping. You know what I mean? If you're totem hunting, you might be having a bad time.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting really sidetracked. I love these thoughts, but I want to just get into like what each emblem does real quick.
Sure.
And then I feel like at the end we can talk about like general,
yeah.
You know. But like in general, I feel like gatekeeper for killer. See how far we got off topic? I can't remember the last time we talked about gatekeeper for killer. Okay, I feel like gatekeeper for killer is generally, you know, with some minor problems, okay. You know, the whole like how long you can keep up gens, and then if you 4-kill with a certain amount of gems up, you get a massive bonus. I think that's okay, you know. I think it's a pretty neat emblem. I'm gonna move on to the next one, okay? So the next one is the survival one, okay? Emblem 2, I will survive. It's unbroken versus Devout, okay? Now this one is interesting. It's kind of like it's kind of straightforward, honestly. This one's actually pretty okay. It's pretty like straightforward, like. As a killer, I'm pretty sure it just goes off of direct kills. I think is what it is. Hold on, let me go find. Yeah, it's just direct kills. It's basically bronze, silver, golden, and iridescent is 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, and if you kill somebody by sacrificing them or mooring them, or if they DC, you get 2 points. Except that they bleed out. The thing about this is that they bleed out. If you slug them and they bleed out, you get nothing. So as long as you kill them by any means other than like bleeding them out and like just like having them sit there until they die, then you get 2 points and your emblem moves up. So basically 1 kill bronze, 2 kill silver, 3 kill gold, 4 kill iridescent, you know, and no kill is no emblem. I think that's totally fine. That's a perfectly direct emblem, you know, and like this is basically like almost vaguely the current rank system, but wrapped into one emblem, 1 out of 4 emblems. So like, yeah, even if you don't get a kill, even if you don't get a Devout emblem, you can still pit based off of getting good emblems in the others. So I really like that they like they pretty much took the entire rank system currently and like subbed it up into like one emblem of the current emblem system, which I think is really good. Like I love that for killer.
Right. This is basically downsizing the entire victory cube for killer into a 4th category. Like when I say 4th category, I mean literally the 4th category, but also it is 1/4 of your overall review score, on how you did. Yeah, score, exactly. So yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think it's great. All right, and then for survivor, it's basically you lose points when you get downed is all it is. 100%. Every time you get downed, you lose points. Basically, you start with 100 points, and every time you get downed, you lose points. Okay, so like if you get downed once, then you can't get into your iridescent. Like to get into your iridescent category, you have to never get downed and leave. If you get downed once, you get or wait, am I reading this backwards? Basically, if you get downed once, you get iridescent. Yeah, wait, no, sorry, I read it backwards. You start with 0, but okay, and then you get 3 points every time you get down, but points are bad. Sorry, I read that backwards. So it's 2 for your iridescent. So if you get down once, you get 3 points, and you can't get iridescent anymore. You have to get less than 2, and then 5. So basically, you get down once, you can't get iridescent. If you get down twice, you can't get gold. If you get down 3 times, you can't get silver. And then bronze is literally insane. It's 98. So like if you
20 something.
Yeah, like you have to get down, I think it's 33 times.
Oh man.
So
yeah.
if you somehow get down 33 times and then still manage to escape, then you'll get no medal. But assuming you escape, you'll get at least a bronze, because I don't think you're ever going to get down 33 times and escape. So they set that number insanely high so that no matter what, as long as you escape, you'll get at least a bronze. but like to get silver, gold, iridescent, you have to limit the amount of times you get down. You know, like if you get down, you know, like no times at all, you get iridescent. You get down once, it's gold. You know, twice it's silver. And
by down, they mean put into a dying state.
Yes, put into a dying state, which I
just want to clarify.
Which I think is okay. Which I think is interesting, but I also don't.
I don't like this.
I feel like I feel like what it should be is hooks should give you a large amount of points, and then being down gives a very tiny amount. Like right now, it's literally just downed equals 3 points towards it. You know, like what I think it should be is hooked equals like 3 points, and then maybe down is like 1. You know what I mean? Because
I honestly just don't like this emblem at all.
Really?
Yeah,
at all?
I don't know. I just really don't like the emblem.
I like it because I feel like what it is I feel like in the current emblem system, or sorry, the current rank system for Survivor, with like the whole survival category of blood points, the main thing I've always hated about that is that there was pretty much no way to get it aside from escaping. You know, like there's
That's
dumb little
still
shit that
what
you
it
can do.
So,
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is, but like with this, you at least have things that you can do that'll give you more towards it. You know, like if you manage to not get down.
If you think about it, they're just making it worse because you're already. If you think about the current rank system, it gives you 4 points. So normal pip is 8, just like like a normal pip is 8. So this one, if you don't get downed once, gives you 4. That's just like surviving in the old system. You get half of your pip secured by escaping, because it gave you 5k blood points and you needed 10k to pip. So that didn't change. But what changed is if you get downed a single time, you just get punished for it. Downed twice, you lost 2 points of it. 3 times, you now only get a single point for surviving, which means it's 4 times worse to survive if you get down 3 times now than it was before. So, like, you don't get anything for surviving. And I don't like that because it doesn't make sense. It actually just made it worse. Because before, you got your survival points for surviving, and now it's that, you know? So this one is just a downgrade of that.
I don't...
I think what they're trying to do is reward you for surviving, right? You get rewarded for surviving, but it's the condition in which you survived, right? Maybe downed is not the way to do that. Maybe getting hooked or something, but I think
it should be hooked.
Like the way Highway Jack says this. Well, see, I think initially what I was thinking was it makes sense for it to be hooked, but at the same time, I think that really encourages decisive strike.
Yeah, I don't think it does. It promotes those negative things. Like, you don't want to be hooked. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to go run infants,
I mean,
Like,
I wouldn't mind seeing people use decisive strike if the perk was actually balanced. Cough.
That's a different topic, but like it's
so I think I don't. First of all, I like the death from bleeding out does not grant points. I don't think you should be slugging people to death. I like that on the Devout side. Unbroken side, I don't really know how I feel about the quality. Depends on the number of times you got down. I think I think that the condition in which you leave, if you're like a punching bag the entire fucking game and you just manage to escape, you know what I mean? I don't know if like unbroken should be an iridescent for you, but I think maybe they could throw in something that could promote it, like exit gates. You know what I mean? Like if you survived by and you opened an exit gate, that's a big part of surviving. Like hatch, all that stuff. I don't know. I think they could have done something more positive instead of negative, but to put something negative on the killer side and not something negative on the survivor side, I think that's basically where they just they thought about it. I think they came up with the killer idea first, right? Death from bleeding out does not grant points, and then they're like, well, shit, what are we gonna do for survivors?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree. I feel like the way this has to work though is like, okay, I feel like with the way this emblem works, it either works like one or two ways. Either when you escape, you get an emblem based on, whatever happened in the game, like kind of like how it is now with downs or whatever. But assuming you can tweak that and be like, hooks count or downs count, or you know, like maybe certain things count. Like that's one way of doing it, where like you get less of an emblem depending on what happened to you in the game. Or you can make it so that like, you know, you get an iridescent no matter what as long as you survive. But then like, you know, if you die, maybe you can get like a shittier version if you did like certain things. But I don't even know how that would work. Like I feel like people think that you should just get like an iridescent no matter what, as long as you survive. But like, what would be the point of the other emblems then? You know, like what would be the point of silver, gold? Like, you have to have a reason for those, you know. And I do think that like it's not really wrong to reward a survivor for not getting downed an entire match, you know. Like I don't think that's a bad thing to reward, you know. Like that's if you didn't get down the entire fucking match and survived, and shit, man, I think you deserve an iridescent. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a big deal. Like
so So yeah, so there's a lot of people complaining about I can run the killer the entire game, right? The entire game and not get downed and escape, and I still won't pip. Okay, so that is inherently an issue that directly correlates to this category, right? The unbroken, right? You can.
I think that more correlates to Chaser, to be honest.
But I think half of it
is both. Yeah.
I think half of that voiced concern relates to this category. I also agree that it relates to Chase. Don't get me wrong. I think it also relates to Chase. But I think half of this is if you are a excellent survivor and you can keep a killer's attention and you know, can't get downed and you can survive, I think, you know, that should be rewarded, right? But if you are getting downed and stuff, then I don't know. I actually think maybe this category is okay to me. It just depends.
I wanted to bring up something. I liked what Tofu said. There is 4 categories that you want to use for a reason. But what if instead of just the purpose of surviving, what if you do survival aspects in-game that was to give you a bronze emblem of this? I don't think surviving should give you any less than a gold in this thing. I just personally don't. I don't think that makes sense. Like,
okay, so how about
you survived the game? Like that was the whole goal, you know. Like you shouldn't be like bronze because you got down 3 times. Like yeah, the killer was good, but I still managed to beat him by surviving. You know, with team play, taking hits. You know, what if I went down, but I went down and you know someone saved me at a pallet? That was it was an efficient play on the survivor's aspects for it. But is there anything else in the game that you do survival-esque that would contribute to that? Like,
I mean, I guess what you could say is like how far into the game you died. Maybe like depending on how many gens are done or something. When you die, you get like a certain bronze.
Yeah, and like something like that.
Yeah, like say if you die like after the exit gates are powered and like, you know, like you're so close to escaping and then you die, maybe you get like a gold or something, you know, or like if you die with like maybe don't give a medal at all until there's like 2 gens done. But if you die with like 2 gens left, or sorry, with like only 2 left, then maybe you get like a bronze. You die with 1 gen left, you get a silver. You die when the exit gates are powered, you get a gold. And then if you make it out, no matter what, you get a iridescent. Like I could see that. Like that.
I actually really like that a lot better because I think that's one of the big core problems with Survivor Emblems is the categories are so different. Like you have to be chased, you have to do generators, you need to not get downed and survive to get points in that. And then finally, what's the last one? Oh yeah, the last one. You need to be altruistic, which we'll talk about it when it comes up. But yeah. You need to also be altruistic and really altruistic to get anything in that one.
You know what? Let's just go on to the next one. Yeah. I think we can like tackle like what can be changed about all of it, because I feel like when every time we talk about like what can be changed about one, it always goes into the other ones too, because you know like
true, because they all have they're all a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to the third one. This one is under pressure. Okay, everyone loses points when a teammate is injured and hooked, and can get them back when they're saved. Performing altruistic actions grants bonus points. All right, as that's Benevolent as survivor, and then malicious as killer is win points by injuring and downing survivors. Those survivors' points are lost if the survivor gets healed, but then you win the points by hooking the survivors. Those points never get lost. So as a killer, you basically get rewarded for hooking people. Is essentially what this is. Like it's worded in like a weird way, but essentially you just get points when you hook people. Like, I tested this a lot. I played a lot of games where I didn't hook anybody at all the entire game, and I would just get no emblem in this every single time. You know, it basically it's just like, you know, you get points for hooks is essentially like I feel like that pretty much sums it. Like,
yeah, and it's kind of like you get 1 point for downing them, and then you get the extra 2 points for the hook, right? Isn't that how it works?
Well, no, because if you down them and then they get healed, then it takes the point away.
But if you down them to the dying state, you hook them and they get unhooked, they lose 1 health state. So you're up a point.
Right. So you get 2 points, Tofu. So you injure them initially, right? 1 point. Then you hit them into the dying state, 2 points. Then you hook them, you get those points, right? But then when they get pulled off the hook, all the survivors can re-heal is that 1 injured state.
Yeah,
because they didn't get to heal them up from a dying state, right?
Yeah, correct. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
In my opinion, how it takes away from the survivor those points, that's the problem when we get into it. I kind of like this killer one, though, because it rewards hooks, not kills. So if you're good about it and you just hook a bunch of people, not even kill them, you're still going to get really rewarded for it.
Okay, so here's the one thing I wanted to bring up about this, though. I mean, I think what it would be cool is if they gave points. You know how like when you body block hits, you know, like for like stacks of We're Gonna Live Forever, or just for like the points that pop up that say protection. I think that should give you points for Benevolent.
It's actually funny. That's what we were talking about when you crashed. I agree. I think that's the biggest problem is that you don't get points for that, for me. Because that's really beneficial. Like, they get weapon cooldown. You know, like the killer has a weapon cooldown and the survivor gets to run. Plus, if you're body blocking his pathway, he's going to lose even more distance on that aspect. Like, it's really benevolent in my opinion.
So Graham, let me pose this scenario, okay? And this is something that's missing, I believe, but I think this actually fixes it, okay? Someone gets pulled off the hook, the killer goes for the tunnel, you take a body block hit, right? Right now, the killer has gained a point for hitting you. You have lost a point. So has everybody else, right? I think that if the protection hit activates, you should gain a point. Just you, the individual who took the hit, right, should gain that point because your health state right there, that health state that you lost made you lose a hit. So it bounces it back out, right? The fact that you did it for protection's sake allows you to gain another point back. So it's essentially like it's a median, right? Like you lose a point, but you also gain a point because it was for protection. So yes, everybody else lost a point because you're injured and you might be able to escape now. So everybody can get their unbroken stuff by leaving through the exit gate. But I really think that protection, if it's not giving points right now, it definitely should.
Yeah, like I even think like it should give a few points, like a few more points in the benevolent category because they're all in like variables of 10, except for 1 for some reason. Like those 1s and -1s, I don't really get those.
Well,
like
those are
the global ones. The global ones, yeah.
Yeah, like that's why it's because they're global. I don't think they want to make the global numbers too high, except for the hook. The hook global is big, but the rest aren't.
10, yeah. Like I think, I don't know. It's weird in my opinion that the hit is even like a category of benevolence. You know, like how you get -1. That's just, in my opinion, that's weird to me. Like how it just lowers, like, just being, like, down makes it so you need to do an entire other altruistic action for something that I assume they didn't design around, you know what I mean? Like, how they're all in, like, 20, 40, 60, 100, but then your average, like, in-game, you'll be at, like, 60 and 36, you know? So you'll need another entire action just because someone got hooked. Or downed and hooked.
So let me make a point to this, right? So if you take this first point, everyone loses points when a teammate is injured, hooked, period. Not the and get them back when saved or whatever. That sounds to me like unbroken. Okay? Unbroken is a category that should be negatively affected when people are injured or hooked because you are being essentially broken during the game. There's no the only part that screams benevolence to me is when you save them, right? So that point right there, that first bullet should be when you heal and or save a hooked survivor or whatever, you gain a point, right? That makes sense in benevolence, right? But they're adding all this other stuff that misconstrues into other categories, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, it is. I think like a lot of the things that are in these categories should be like looked at into going to other categories. So you are right. Like, I don't know. It
just comes back to the tug of war, right? The reason that bullet point exists is because it's the survivor equivalent to the malicious killer equivalent, which is win points by injuring and downing survivors, right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason that exists in benevolence, is because they were like, well, we gotta make the survivor side to this killer side, so I don't know.
Honestly, I really don't think it's that bad though. Like I don't, like, for the record, I don't think it's bad that you lose points with someone. Like back to like the original points you were getting at. I don't think it's bad that everyone loses points whenever someone dies on hook, because the points that you make up for doing all, it basically means that like if you aren't altruistic all game, then yeah, you're gonna get punished because you're gonna end up getting no badge. But as long as you're at least like decently altruistic, then like the punishment that you get isn't that bad, you know? Like if you just unhook and full heal a guy and then 2 people die, you'll still end up getting like a silver, you know, like a silver.
Nah,
actually, I think you get like a bronze, but still, like regardless, you know.
I don't have the point stuff up, but the second bullet says performing the altruistic action grants bonus points. Now I know it's kind of like relating back to injured and hooked saves and heals, but because they say the altruistic action, but I think it should be performing altruistic actions grants bonus points. Like what Graham and I were talking about and Toby were talking about is the, you know, if you're doing a protection hit or a distraction, that should grant you bonus
Agreed.
point.
100%.
Yeah, because those are altruistic, you know?
Right. This is kind of like a redundant bullet point, in my opinion. It's like performing what we just told you to do in the first bullet point gets you bonus points. It's like, that's weird. I don't know why that bullet even exists. Okay, we got more bonus points for what you just told us to do. Bonus. All right, sweet.
Yeah, but okay.
And then I think if they do that, I think it's very fine to have a tug of war, because then you have more options to actually get the points as, not just for being the unhooker, which is the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So hypothetically, if they added that, like if they made like, okay, like taking a hit for a survivor, like protection points, like they can even make it like a strict, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like tanking hits, like the whole like protection points that you get isn't like the same as getting a stack on We're Gonna Live Forever. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. You have to be like really fucking close.
Oh yeah,
to get a stack. So like they can honestly make it either way. Like they can make it as strict as We're Gonna Live Forever, or they can make it like as long as the 200 points for protection pops up. You know, it doesn't really matter to me how strict they make it, but I think they should make tanking hits for, you know, hurt survivors give you points in this, as well as like flashlight saves. Like I think getting I think getting killer grass, like the whole like the points for like killer grass rescue or whatever, that should give you like, I don't know, a large chunk of points, like pretty much McLean like unhook.
Also said that was just something that wasn't working, but is already like a thing.
Okay, good.
You do get benevolent points for getting a flashlight save and a pallet stun.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and the pallet stun as well. Yeah, 100%. And then I think as long as they add that, and then like you said, like they can maybe move the whole like losing points for being hit and then getting them back for being healed. They can maybe move that to unbroken. Yeah. But even if they don't, I don't think it's that bad to have it in benevolent. But it'd probably be better in unbroken. But I think with those changes, I think this would be really good. A really good emblem.
Me too.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna move on to the last one because I want to get a whole overview too. The last one is the chaser one. It's called You Can Run and You Can Hide. Funny because stealth players need help. Anyway, okay, now as survivor says, be stealthy. Being close from the killer while remaining unseen grants points. Escaping a chase without getting hit grants points. The longer the chase, the higher the points. Okay, I know we have a lot to say. Hold on. As a killer,
a lot to say.
I know as soon as I said the longer the chase, the higher the points, I was like, wait. Okay, that was chasers. Starting a chase and landing a hit also grants points. And then the chase length determines that. Okay, now let's get into this. real quick. Let me find the numbers because these numbers are also fucking ridiculous. But let me find them real quick. Okay, like as a survivor, basically, you get points for, you know, like basically as a chase happens right now, like as a killer chases a survivor, as time goes on, a point value builds up for how long the chase is. You know, like if the chase is going on for like, if for each second that the chase is going on, points are added to like a pool of points. And then if the survivor escapes, he gets the points. If the killer hits him, then the killer gets the points. And for the record, to lose a killer, you have to lose him for 5 whole seconds. There's a survivor loss timer that says 5 seconds. So I'm assuming that means you have to get the escaped points where the chase actually ends. Like you know, like the music stops, the chase ends, bloodlust starts to tick down or whatever. And then you have to stay lost for 5 whole seconds. And if the chase starts up within those 5 seconds, I'm pretty sure the pool continues. And it's, you know, okay, so like that's how it works. And also, we'll just say the whole, like, as far as like staying near a killer, I'm not really sure how the points work. I don't think this even does this even had it. Yeah, it actually does.
The points are really weird. It's basically, yeah, you just get points for being nearby but not being in a chase.
Well, it just says
So you're encouraged to just follow the killer.
So
That's the only time how I've ever gotten iridescent evader.
really, I got iridescent a bunch
just...
by I got in a bunch by getting in chases and then like flashlight blinding at a pallet.
Oh
and then
yeah,
clicking
no,
flash shooting,
that's the
That's
easiest
like the
way to get the
efficient
points,
way.
Yeah.
The efficient, easy way.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
when I
if
actually
you
try
want
to be stealthy,
yeah, but I mean,
that's the only way.
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like, I don't think you should be. Like, you shouldn't want to follow around a killer all game. That's stupid gameplay, you know? Who would want to do that?
I agree.
I
It's
think the whole
That's why
idea
it's
behind
bad,
it.
and that's like the thing. The thing is just, if you want to be stealthy, you're not gonna get iridescent evader because of how it works.
See,
That's
but
what
I don't
I
think
mean.
you should get iridescent for being stealthy. I think it should give you something. It shouldn't. I don't think this emblem is supposed to be like play stealthy and that's it. At least it shouldn't be. I think stealth, because stealth already rewards you in a lot of other ways too, like for unbroken.
Yeah,
if you never
that's
get
what I was
down, then
thinking,
stealth
yeah.
doesn't hurt. You know, like stealth is already rewarded in this emblem system. That like this emblem doesn't need to be like 100% stealth and that's it. Like, and even in the current, like with the way it works, stealth is good. Like being stealthy still does give you points. So like here's how it works. Like you get points for every time you're in the terror radius without being in a chase. You get like a point per second, I guess, is what it is. And then yeah, like I guess then there's like a bunch of point values for like the chase, but it's super I don't even know how it works. There's a bunch of values at the bottom where the guy didn't even know what they meant either. Like chase per second and shit. There's all this weird shit. I have no idea. But basically the gist of it is, as a survivor, if you're sitting in the killer's heartbeat radius, you slowly get points towards this as long as you're not being chased. And also the way it works as far as the actual chase is, you know, like I said, like you start a chase, points build up. If you escape for more than 5 seconds, the survivor wins the points. If the killer gets a hit, the killer wins the points. Okay? And now, I know we have a lot to say, but let me just start out by saying that this is really fucking bad. This is really ass backwards to how this game works. Like, extremely bad. Like, yeah. Like, the way this game works, especially at, like, high rank, like, against like, high tier killers, you don't just lose them. That's not how this game works. You don't just lose the killer. It's not like with skill as a survivor, you can just be like, okay, I'm going to lose this killer now, and then you lose them. Like, there's not enough tools, you know? And as a matter of fact, there shouldn't be enough tools. In this game, like, if you could easily just, it's kind of, I think Apples was saying this the other day, where, like, if you're in a chase for someone for a long time, and then you just lose them, like you just lose track of them and they get away, you basically lost the game, dude. Like you need, like, that's insane. Like you can't even let that be an option in this game, to be honest. Like, I think if a killer loses a survivor, that's a gigantic misplay on the killer's side, and that's how it should be treated. It shouldn't be treated as like this is how survivors, like this is how ideal survivor play is. No, that's a gigantic killer misplay. Like, insane. And it shouldn't be like the only way to get points as a survivor in a category, because it's not a good survivor play. It's a bad killer play, 100%. Like, there are things that you could do as a survivor that, you know, like help you, you know, that could like increase the odds of the killer losing you. But when it comes down to it, a good killer isn't gonna lose you. You know what I mean? Like, it's still, you're still banking on them making a mistake, and you know, you can't guarantee that they'll do it. It shouldn't be, you know, it shouldn't be a fucking, okay. And second off, I want to say that, like, the big issue that is being had with this emblem is this as well, where how a lot of games go in this game is where one person gets chased, you know, like say there's a Leatherface, you know, a great example. There's a Leatherface killer. He finds a fucking Brazil shirt Claudette fucking named Mathman200, and he decides to chase him, you know? He's like, let's chase this guy. He's got a shiny green shirt. Let's get him, you know? And then they fucking loop around the map for all 5 fucking gens. Like, he doesn't lose him because it's pretty much fucking hard to lose him, you know? And why would the Claudette lose the killer whenever he could instead run away, you know? Like, if the Leatherface is clearly not a very skilled killer, why bother trying to lose him when you know he can't catch you anyway? Why not waste his time? Like, it's the smarter play, you know what I mean? All around the smarter play for teamwork. So, you know, the Claudette, you know, kites around the LF for the whole game, while everyone does all the gens, and then, like, the gates get powered. But then eventually he runs out of pallets because, you know, pallets are limited source. And then the killer also gets bloodlust at the windows because, you know, that's how this game works. Eventually resources run out, and eventually bloodlust will get you, you know. And then he catches you, puts you on a hook, and face camps you, you know. This has happened. This happens frequently. Very frequently this happens. Like, in that situation, the survivor actually gets punished. You don't get, like, anything in Evader, even though you kited him all game, and you made him chase you all game, and, like, he took forever to fucking catch you, which is a bad thing. Chases being long for killer is a bad thing. You want them to be short. He gets rewarded. He would probably get an iridescent chaser in that situation, and you would probably get maybe nothing for Evader, because you lost the pull. You lost the giant pull. And it's just... It's so backwards. It's so backwards from what it's supposed to be, you know?
Right.
Like, that's how a lot of games go, and they need to understand that. That shouldn't be, like, what's rewarded and what's punished. So, as a killer, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know, man. I feel so weird about this, because I feel like it kind of triggers me, man. Like, it's common sense that as a killer, you want your chases to be short. You should never want your chases to be long. That's just weird. Like, why would you want a long chase? You want your chases to be short. The faster you catch the survivors, the more pressure you get. And as a survivor, you want the opposite. As a survivor, you don't want your chases to end short. You want to have a long chase. And I think having a long chase should be rewarded, you know?
So I think, okay. Emblem number 4, you can run and you can hide. That sounds good to me. I know a lot of people don't like stealth gameplay, but 2 things. If you do like stealth gameplay and you do want to play that way, I think you should be rewarded for that. And if you do like being chased by the killer and evading the killer and, like, having them never catch you, I think you should be rewarded in this category as well. So be stealthy. I know we were just talking about, like, follow the killer around and get iridescent evader. You know, that is an option. That's a way to cheese this category. Sure, if you want to do it that way, right? But you can also earn it. You can also earn the evader iridescent by being a good stealthy evading survivor. The problem I have mainly with the second bullet point is escaping a chase without getting hit grants points. First already have an issue with that. I think escaping a chase period should grant you points. I don't think if you were injured when you're taken away, I think, like, Iron Will becomes a shit perk at that stage. I think that if the killer hitting you during a chase should have nothing to do with the chase itself. You know, the chase ends when you are unable to continue the chase, when you're in a dying state, not when you're injured. The longer the chase, the higher the points. This right here is a core problem that I see, where the longer the chase, the higher the points is fine as bonus points for the survivor. I completely agree. If you run the killer around a bunch, then you should get a great evader emblem. I don't think you should lose and be punished when the chase ends and they eventually get you. I don't think that should be a thing. I think you should be rewarded for the amount of time that you put in to keep that killer busy. On the other side of it, I think that landing a hit during a chase should be rewarded to a killer, but it should not negatively ruin what the survivor just did. You know what I mean? The chase isn't over. The chase is only halfway through. Just because you got hit, that means you're only 75% or 50% of the way through this chase. I think the reason they put that in, realistically, is because the hit will give the survivor a boost of speed and possibly create a secondary chase. So when they were putting this in with the mechanics of the game, they're like, oh, this weird thing's happening where I hit a survivor, they go blasting off at the speed of light, and they go around a corner, and I lose my chase. You know, and then like it's just more of a pre-existing mechanic in the game that is inherently making this chaser category for a killer very awkward. The additional points are one based on the chase's length. If the chase is successful, I think that's good. I think that if you end the chase and you get the person, that's good. You've done the chase, but I think the chase's length should definitely be more reward for a quick chase. You down them quick, and less of a reward. Like there should be like a point multiplier. You know, you start off with a 5 times multiplier, and every minute a multiplier falls off, right? Because you've just been fucking ran around for the entire goddamn game. Something like that, you know? I think that chase length should be rewarded on opposite ends. And I don't think it should be taken away to whoever wins the chase. Personally, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, I have like a suggestion for this. I'm curious to see what you guys think. What if, okay, I like the whole, like, for the record, I don't think this category should be forcing people into any play style. Like, you shouldn't be forced to play stealthy. You shouldn't be forced to run. Like, I like that you get points for being stealthy. This is basically like the current boldness category, but with like, you know, okay, what I'm suggesting anyway is basically like the current boldness category, but, you know, stealth also helps you. Like, I like the whole, like, being near a killer but not being seen gives you points, and I want that to stay, and I want that to be, like, a significant, like, you should be able to get, like, up to, like, a silver, maybe even a gold by doing that, as long as you're, like, you know, without doing, like, what Atro said, where you just follow around the killer. Like, I guess if you want to do that to cheese it, feel free, but that's a, you know, you're not going to be playing very efficiently in the other categories if you're doing that, you know? But I think just by generally playing stealthy, you know, you should be able to pip. You should be able to get, like, you know, like silver in this category to help towards your pip, you know what I mean? It should reward that. But I think I think the rest of it should be, like, you know, exactly what you said. Like, as a survivor, you know, the longer the chase, the more points you get, regardless of whether you get hit or downed or whatever. But I also think that they could even keep this whole, like, escaping a chase grants bonus points. I would be down to even have that, you know, and just give you, like, a decent chunk of bonus points if you manage to, like, escape a chase. But don't make it, like, the only way, you know? Like, I think you should get points just for making a chase last a long time. But maybe if people, like, maybe if they want to push towards, you know, people trying to escape chases, if that's what they want to see, which, by the way, I still think is not a good idea. Devs, if you hear me, not a good idea, because I don't think that, like you said, it's not really a thing that happens against good killers, you know? It's more of, like, a gigantic killer mistake, and it's not really, like, I don't think that's ever gonna be the meta of this game, is survivors actively trying to lose the killer in a chase rather than running away, you know? I think that was the whole point of them adding bloodlust and stuff too. But anyway, regardless, I think they can add, like, a big bonus, you know what I mean, if you actually manage to lose them. But other than that, have the category be mostly like you get points if you get in long chases, or if you hide. Like, that's basically it, you know?
Right. So I have a point to make, and then I have a question to pose to the podcast. The point I want to make is evader. Evader is a double-edged sword, right? It's got two faces, two meanings, right? You can evade stealthily, right? Which means no chase whatsoever, or you can evade by prolonging, right? Evading the killer, continuing a chase, and then eventually maybe losing them if you're good enough to lose them, or the killer fucks up, I guess. But here's my question now, right? In all the other categories, we've seen a loss of points, right? I don't want this to be a category that just is all or nothing, right? You either didn't interface with the killer and you got nothing, or you interfaced with the killer and you got iridescent, right?
I just had a perfect idea for that, if you want to hear it.
Okay, yeah. I want to hear the ideas on if we don't think ending the chase and one person being successful, right, the survivor losing the killer or the killer finally capturing the survivor is not the end point for who quote unquote wins, then what should be the if we think there should be a conditional win, what should it be?
See, like, I'm totally cool with that too. And, you know, like, what they could do is something like, they could do the same thing where like, a pool builds up right now mid-chase. But say, like, if as a survivor you get hit or you get caught, how about you just get half of that pool instead of all of it? And then if you manage to lose the killer altogether, then you get the whole pool. So that way it still, like, greatly rewards you to lose killers. You know what I mean? Because I know that's what the devs want. They want... You know, they want to give people incentive to lose killers, and they want to, like, reward stealth. So, like, if you can manage to lose a killer mid-chase, then bam, you get all the points. But, you know, if you don't manage to lose him and he hits you, which, you know, is going to happen most of the time, you still get half the points. So, like,
yeah,
I feel like that would be pretty legit. As a killer, though, like, I guess you could just do the opposite. You could just make it so that as long as you get a hit, you get all the points, and then if you lose them, you get half. I mean, I think if you lose them, you shouldn't get any, but I don't know. I
think you should get rewarded for chasing, you know, based on the chase's length, like it's stated in the bullet points. But yeah, I really do. I do like that pool that gradually builds. You know, you should either get the full extent of that, and if you're the winner, right? If you evade, you get the full pool. If you finally capture them, that means put them into a dying state, not a hit, in my opinion. I don't think a hit constitutes ending a chase. But I think a hit might be like a bonus point adding to the pool, right? You did something in the chase that was very good. You got them down a health state. You should be rewarded for that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually. I don't want it to be all or nothing. I don't want it to be the killer completely won because they finally caught you. And I don't think it should be the survivor completely ruined you because they were able to run every pallet on this shitty map that is totally overpowered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I think like you know, like cutting the points in half at the end of the chase for whichever side technically lost or whatever could really fix that, you know, because you would still get points, and you can even get enough to still what you were destined as a survivor if you cut him the whole game, you know, like if you cut him the whole game and get caught, you know, like make it so that that's enough points to get in your destined as a survivor, you know. I think it could work out okay.
Right.
I want to also say too that like a lot of people in my chat, and I see this a lot in general too, are talking about like the whole stealth thing and how it should be like a stealth category and stuff. And I just want to
say, really?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick that like, okay, don't get me wrong. I know that stealth gameplay has been like suffering in this game for a long time, and it hasn't been like as rewarded as people want it to be, you know. And everyone's always like, oh, you get nothing for stealth, and you get, you know, you're so much more rewarded for like getting in the killer's face. And like, don't get me wrong, I sympathize. Like, I don't like stealth gameplay myself. I don't like playing stealthy. I don't like playing against stealthy survivors. But I do sympathize. Like, I do know that some people like it, and I agree that it should be buffed, but it should be an option. Okay.
Agreed.
I just want to say that if this game ever became prominently stealth, like, you know how like right now the game is like prominently not stealth. Like, it's mostly people that like, you know, run around and like there's not. Well, actually, I can't even say that. There's a lot of stealth players. Honestly, I can't even say that. Like, I think if the game ever became prominently stealth, like if most games were just super fucking stealthy survivors, I think a big portion of this game would die. Like, many people. I would quit this game in a heartbeat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Killers and survivors.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of killers want to fucking AFK and press W on their keyboard using whatever fucking tracking perks they can to hopefully pray to God and find somebody.
Yeah.
I have 40-minute matches.
Yeah, I just want to say that I feel like killers that like demand that survivors play stealthy, I think that's misplaced anger at the strength of the maps. I think it's more like they're upset at how strong and how easy it is to kite them. So they say like you should be playing stealthy instead. I think if the game ever did become very strong for stealth, I think that killers would be fucking miserable, dude. Like if you've ever like if anybody,
I'm so tired of whenever I get a swamp map and someone hides on it. I just can't find them.
Yeah.
When two people are left or something and neither of them are doing gens.
Yeah.
I just want to go eat some, like, you know, pizza pops or something. I'm done.
Yep, it's seriously very bad. And I just want to say that real quick. I just want like to have that be out there that everyone is aware, and I really hope that they never do that, because that would seriously ruin this game. Like, that would be the worst thing they could ever do. 100%.
I agree with that sentiment completely, and I think the devs are making this category an option for both sides. You know, it's the age-old question of, do you want to play hide and seek or do you want to play tag?
Well,
you know
that's what I'm hoping. See, the current one, like the one I'm looking at right now, the one in the PTB, isn't like that. It completely rewards stealth. It wants you to either hide, or when you're in a chase, it wants you to lose the killer. It basically, it honestly kind of punishes you for getting chased and hit, which is what I'm saying. That's why I think this current emblem is really bad, and that's why I think it needs to be changed. I think it should be changed so that, you know, depending on your play style, you know, like whether you're stealth or whether, you know, you like to get chased. Either way, as long as you do whatever you do well, whether you stealth well or whatever you get chased well, either way, you'll get an emblem in this category. You know?
I think they've laid down a good foundation. You know, you can tell by the title, you can run and you can hide. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's you can run and you have to hide if you want points. You know, like you have to evade. You know, it's not and you can. It's they should really take that title to heart. It's reward the people who can run killers and are a good evading killers by keeping them in chase, or if you like the hide and seek play style, you know, most people think it's resident sleeper, that, you know, if you want to play that way, man, that's okay. I think there should be some reward for that. I don't want to like push out that entire play style, but do not make that the required play style, because that is not realistically what this game is 100%.
Exactly. That would ruin shit. But yeah, I think going forward, if they did basically like something similar to like what we said, I mean, do you guys agree with the whole, like, you know, the pool building up, and if you get hit as a survivor, you get half, or something along those lines? Like, I feel like something along those lines is good. Like, they definitely need to reward, you know, survivors for long chases. And I also think that the whole chase length should be flip-flopped, you know? Like, I think, like, maybe have the pulls be separate. Like, maybe as a killer, the longer the chase, you know, like, the points go down or something. And as a survivor, as the chase goes on for so long, the points go up. I mean, I don't know. I think it should be something reversed like that. Because
I think there should be, I think just from a technical perspective, if any devs are listening, I think that there should be one concurrent pool for the chase, right? One concurrent pool, and then 2 outside bonus pools, right? If you evade as the survivor, right? If you do a stealthy action and you lose the chase, you get granted the pool, right? The killer gets granted half of the pool, and you get the bonus stealth, sure, right? On the other side, if you are in a chase, right, and you end that chase quickly, then your bonus pool gets increased for the timer and any hits that you've gotten in, right? And the same thing can be for survivors if you're able to pallet stun them during a chase or something. Stuff like that. Like I think there needs to be 3 pools: the bonus survivor pool, the bonus killer pool, and then the in the middle shared pool that we're talking about, the chase pool that you're both participating in.
Yeah, where there's like a clear-cut winner.
Yeah, where there's a clear-cut winner. Yeah, and you get half if you lose, and you get the full points if you win. That's it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that concept. And I also love the concept. I also think that like a big issue with this emblem system that I think we've been like kind of putting in with every emblem is how like little things that affected your pipping before now don't. Like kind of like how you just said how like pallet stunning might give you a little bit of bonus points, you know, or like how we said before, like how like the protection points should give you stuff,
or totems.
Like, yeah, or like totems. Yeah, like I think this comes to like a general overview of the whole system, but I mean I do love those ideas too. You know what I mean? Like I think what you just said would be great for like this emblem, and I think
or sabotage.
Yeah, or even Sabo. Yeah, like I think like in general as a whole though in this emblem system, I think that is another thing that we can even just go right into that right now. All right, I think that's a huge problem. You mentioned in the beginning, and I want to get into it right now. Like what do you get? I think you should be rewarded for doing things other than gens as a survivor. Like all the other things, like saboing, totems. You know, like I guess you could kind of say like with the changes that we suggested, you would kind of get rewarded for Sabo by having people wiggle out. You know, if that gave people points like on the team, like if they made that change, I guess that would kind of make Sabo a thing. But I think like you should actually benefit yourself for being the one to do it. You know, and same thing with like totems and like all those things. You know, like you should be rewarded for doing things other than gens. You know, but then it goes into like what category would you get rewarded for? And like how much, you know, like how much would breaking a dull totem do for what category? You know, like I'm not even sure.
Right.
Like which one of these categories would be good for emblems? I don't know, or for totems. I don't know.
For me, I think there should be a thing where there should be a range. If you sabo a hook while the killer's walking with someone on their shoulder, and you drop that hook, right? I think you should get benevolent points right then, because you know. That's pretty benevolent, as long as, you know, that person doesn't get hooked, I would assume. You put it into a bank. Yeah. If they wiggle out, you get the points. But, like, that's pretty benevolent. You spent your time not doing gens, and you planned and prepared for an upcoming event, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a benevolent action to save a survivor from having a rusty hook put through their body.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that totem sabotage or totem breaking should go towards Lightbringer personally. I think that the totems affect the overall concept of the game personally. I just think that we've got Ruin, we've got Devour Hope, we've got all this other stuff. If they want to make it something that's an objective besides the generators that's going to help the overall survival of the team, I think that Lightbringer is a good place to put that. Maybe Benevolence I would say Lightbringer, because it just makes more sense, right? So like if you take a bunch of the key totems, right? Ruin, Devour Hope, Noed, right? These are things that are keeping you in this match. These are things that are going to destroy you and basically make sure you do not escape this place. So the objective that the survivor is doing, right? A generator, a totem, right? Things like that. Those are inherently helping you and your team get out of here, right?
Yeah, you can kind of say they're like side objectives, right? I mean, gens are the main objective. Like doing gens and leaving is the main objective, but breaking the totems and hurting like the killer's power is like the side objective, you know?
Right.
And yeah, I totally agree. I think maybe in Lightbringer there should be like a small point reward for, you know.
I think for hex totems especially, like.
Yeah, like maybe like dull totems gives you blank amount of points, but then maybe an actual hex totem will give you blank amount of points, you know. Like slightly higher.
Like, I don't think doing dull totems, just unless they have thrill or something that interacts with it, is by generation very teamwork, because there's only so many, like, there's only really Noed and Thrill that are connected to dull totems. But I think, especially if you do a hex totem, it's a big deal. Like, most hex totem perks are a big deal. You know, there's a few, like Lullaby, that are just more of a not, like, they're just more of like a...
I don't know what you're talking about. I fucking hate Lullaby.
I fucking hate True, I mean, I guess it does do stuff. But
I'm
compared to, like, Ruin and Devour Hope, those ones are insanity.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
You know, if you leave those up, you know, you're gonna get ruined by... Sorry. But yeah, so, like, I don't know. It's like, I think the especially if you do, like, that side objective of, oh, they have hex perks, I'm gonna go destroy it. I should be rewarded for it because you have time spent looking for it and cleansing it. So it's a lot of time to go do something that will give you exactly 0 points currently.
Right, and so that right now, right? If you think about that from a survivor perspective, right? The current way things are going is that rewards you bold, right? And that's all right, but when you think about it, like if it's inherently stopping you from doing gens and escaping the match, I really think that does identify with Lightbringer, where it's like, you know, you might have not done the gens, but you did help. You helped with other side objectives that are very critical to getting out.
And, like, sure, you didn't do a generator, but you got rid of fucking Hex Ruin so everyone else could do generators easier. You know, you got rid of Devour Hope So now your chases are gonna last longer. So, like, you're doing an objective to save your team from something powerful. You know, you got rid of the third seal, so your teammates can be more altruistic. You know, it's being a very big, like, it's a big thing to get rid of these hex perks.
Right. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it if it's a dull totem, if it should be basically like half the points or whatever, because some totems right now, like Noed, activate at a certain time, and I think that the devs can also make that happen in the future. You know?
Yeah, with other perks. Yeah, I would love to see that.
Circumstance totems that begin to become hexes when a certain thing happens. You know, like 2 people are dead on hooks and a hex activates or something. I don't know, but just
no, I really like that. Like, even if, for example, like what we were saying with like let's say like Ruin or Lullaby, you don't get it till you actually touch a generator with the effect. You know? Stuff like that appears after set condition is met, or like, you know, something like that.
Right.
Like, what if Devour Hope didn't go until you actually hooked someone? It turned from dull to a super totem.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat.
Because that gets rid of that problem of, oh, I spawned beside said hex totem and I instantly destroy it.
Right.
But that's another thing for another day. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that, though. I just think it's weird that there is a lot of things from the old system that, were fine, in my opinion, to give points for that aren't supported anymore, you know? Like, I had a talk with McLean about it, and he said, I think we tried to remove a lot of, like, quote-unquote abusive point, you know, like farming or that sort of thing, like farming and just things that you shouldn't really be getting a lot of points for or pipping for. But it's like there's also a lot of things I don't feel are that should be, you know, that was very fair before or had a very clear role in the game that currently has none.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I also think that the important part of it too is also that, you know, I think punishing doing things other than gens is also bad because, you know,
Gen rush.
Yeah, like it's not fun as a killer or even as a survivor to feel like that's all there is to do gens, and as a killer, like having them just like hammer out the gens and leave. Like, I feel like the most fun games I ever have on DVD from both sides, from killer and survivor, are the games where we're doing other things. You know, like you're out there like saboing, or out there like, you know, like looting chests or doing other things. You know, like as a killer and a survivor, that's so much more fun than just doing the gens and getting out. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think that needs to be rewarded, you know? I think if you punish everybody who does anything other than the main objective, then every game is just going to be survivors hammering out gens and trying to leave, and then killers just, you know, it's just going to make it miserable, you know? I think they needed to...
A key point, and a lot of people are talking about this right now, is why does this matter, right? Why does this emblem system matter at all? You know, like why are we talking about what you get rewarded for, what you do and do not do in this system? And most people are like, well, there's no reward at the end of it. And my opinion is if you go through this emblem system and you are a rank 1 killer survivor, that means that you are playing in a way that is good, right? I'll just take it from the killer's perspective, right? Because we've talked about how in the PTB you can pip by camping. Totally unacceptable, right? Totally unacceptable. If you're a rank 1 killer, there should be no way in fuck that your main playstyle is the tunnel and camp, right? And we've said that to the devs over and over again. So I think we're trying to vet this concept in these categories and the points that are going on in here, so that if you are a rank 1 killer, that might actually maybe mean something, where it's like, oh, a rank 1 killer, I should expect good gameplay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if I'm going up against rank 20s, there might be a reason they're rank 20. Oh my God.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, too, is I want to say this real quick, too, because everyone always gives the argument of, like, oh, but rank system doesn't matter, you know, you don't get anything for being rank 1 at the end of the season, which, don't get me wrong, I do agree. Like, I've been playing this game a long time. I've been rank 1 pretty much every fucking season ever since the goddamn release of this game. And I know it doesn't mean anything, you know, like you don't get anything for it or whatever, but it doesn't stop the fact that people want to be high rank. Like new players, even players that play a long time, like the game gives you a definitive win-loss condition, you know? Like whether or not being rank 1 does anything for you, people will do what they have to do to rank up, you know? And if you play a game and you D-rank, you know what I mean, that game, you're gonna feel like, oh, I lost. Whether or not, like, so anyone that says that like the rank system is pointless, like, I'm sorry, the rank system completely dictates how people play, dude. But whether or not it means anything to be rank 1, thing. Yeah, exactly. Like people don't want to D-rank. Like people, like there's a number there, you know, like it shows your rank. There's a clear win-loss at the end of each game, and people want to get the win. You know what I mean? Especially newer players. You know, this game is honestly fueled by newer players. It really is. Like a lot of like, vets quit this game, and then new people come in. You know, when new shit's released, this game is fueled by new players, and those people are especially the ones that are like, you know, they adapt to the rank system. Like they'll base their whole play style based off what works to win or lose. And I think that's why there's such a huge influx of like tunneling and camping lately, is because new players join the game with the current rank system. They're like, oh shit, the easiest way to pip is to like hard camp these guys and to tunnel these guys, you know, like that's the easiest way to do it. So then they base their whole play style around it, you know? Like if you made the emblem, if you made the system, like hopefully the emblem system, in a way where, you know, people who play in that way, like camping and hard tunneling and stuff like that, you know, if that stuff gets punished, you know what I mean, to the point where they don't rank up and they lose, then they're gonna not play like that. They're gonna be like, shit, that doesn't work. Let's try something else. You know, and then,
yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm so excited for this emblem system if it comes out properly, because this is going to come back. I'll say quote unquote bad killers, right? Can I say that? Is that fair enough?
Yeah,
bad killers are going to start Monka-essing pretty hard because they're just like, I can't win. And you'll really be able to see who gives a shit about playing this game and being rewarded properly, and who's just a dick. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who just wants to play like a dick?
Yeah, like because the only people that'll still camp like if the system punishes camping, the only people that'll still camp will literally just be the people who are fucking salty dicks. You know what I mean? Like you run them around and flashlight them or something, and they're like, "Baby raids, that's OP," and then they face camp. You know, like those people, and then they'll stay at low ranks. You know, they'll stay at low ranks where they belong because they're obviously not very good. And anybody who's good at the game who like adapts, you know what I mean? Well, and then the games will also be a million times more fun, which is the most important thing. You know what I mean?
But yes.
Like, cause that's the thing. The rank system completely dictates the entire meta of how the game is played. And, you know, like lately, that has been really bad. It's been a huge complaint. I hear people complaining about it a lot. I mean, hell, I complain about it a lot of the time. Every time I'm getting hard camped and tunneled, and after the game, the guy says, sorry, I had to secure my pip. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing I'm waiting for, and this is going to be the best part of it, and maybe people in chat will agree, is I'm excited to see the matches where 4 people escape, the killer comes out, and everyone says GG. And they truly mean it, because because the killer did win based on their emblems, and the survivors did great on their part too, right? That is actually going to be a scenario where, like, you know, you can just double hook everybody, and you can get great chase points and all these other iridescent emblems, and you had a nice long game, and even if everybody still escapes, dude, GG. You know, like that. I
know, right?
Yeah,
I can't fucking wait.
As a killer, I did good. You know, I got iridescent, whatever gatekeeper because I did good at map control. I got my almost iridescent like gold. I got a gold hook emblem because I hooked them all 2 times. I did great there. Good job, pat on my back. You know, and I fucking nailed it in chases. You know, beat those asses down with my hammer because I'm an M1 Billy. Yeah.
No, but seriously, I definitely think that it's going to be for the better. I mean, I think we should probably wrap this up. I think we've been going for a while.
Yeah, sure. I think that was a good conclusion.
Me too. I think that was a fantastic conclusion, honestly.
Yeah, I agreed. I just want to say before I get out of here that, yeah, the Emblem System, I'm super excited for it. And if there is any devs listening, I really hope you guys take what we say to heart, because I really think that this could be one of the best changes. Like this, on top of the palette changes and the map changes that are hopefully coming as well, are probably the 2 most important changes ever on this game. Like, it's such a huge deal. You know, if you do it right, if you take time with it, you really like play test it, make sure it's correct. You know, hell, hit us up if you need some fucking play testing. I'm sure, you know, like whatever. Yeah. Like if this comes out correct, It's gonna help this game so much going forward, like insanely.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, feel free.
Okay, devs, right? Behavior. I know the managers are pressuring you to release an emblem system, but I will say this. If you want to do another PTB with the round 2 with adjusted stuff and the tweaks you've made, I fully encourage that. Please, for the love of God, do not release a cube or an emblem system where you're just thinking like, this is good enough. Really, really let the community take a look at it. Like I personally would love to play another PTB with fixes and stuff that has gone into it. I'm just worried. I don't want it to be released and then it's like, okay, and that's it. That's how it's going to be for the rest of eternity. And because if there's something wrong with it, then
exactly. This is so important. I don't want it to be like half-assed. You know, I want to make sure it's right, and we as players can 100% help that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I agree.
We're here. We're here to support and help.
Don't do a Wraith rework on us. Do us.
Yes, for real, dude, for real. Okay, I think that's about it, though. I think it's time for us to get out of here. This has been a decently long podcast. I don't know what we're going to be hitting up next week. Atro, by the way, if anyone wondered, Atro, like, left at some point. His internet was messing up.
His ISP is fucked.
He rolled out at some point, so...
And he's just probably sleeping now. He's tired, I assume.
Yeah, it's like midnight in Germany, so he's probably sleeping. But, you know, Atro was here. He was one of our podcasters. If you guys want to say your goodbyes, we got Reeks Apples and Mathman. These guys both stream occasionally. Mathman hasn't been streaming as much as he should be, but you know. But you guys should check him out. I'll have links below the video. Twitch.tv/ReexApples, amazing killer player, very awesome guy, very good at talking about his mindset while playing too. Mathman200, Twitch.tv/Mathman200, amazing, probably the best Survivor player I know by far, and also just all around generally awesome guy to hang out with. Would recommend. And you guys probably, if you're on my YouTube, you probably know me. I stream every fucking day at twitch.tv/otofu. I'll be there being a nerd. Well, every day except for Friday. But regardless, yep, we had a good time. Again, we didn't read any emails this week. We only had like one. I'll wait until some more build up, and maybe we'll just do another email podcast. But if you guys want to email us, yep, if you send in an email, if you guys want us to talk about anything, or there's something about the game that you want us to talk about, you want to call us idiots, you want to say that we're all dorks and we care too much, feel free. Just say whatever you want. The email is daylightcastpodcast@gmail.com. I'll put that below the video as well. And yeah, thank you guys all for hanging out and listening. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, much appreciate, guys.
Yeah. See you later.
Well, see you later, guys. See ya.
Later.
See ya.